Good morning, my dear Libra, and welcome to the channel. This is Tarot of the Twin Sun. My name is Ron. This is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Welcome to the channel. Today we shall be doing a Singularity reading. The Singularity reading is a tool devised in order to see a nexus or a nodal point in which there may be a great deal of cycle or perhaps a karma that is wanting to express itself in terms of the importance. It can vary from person to person. It does not have to resonate with everyone. However, if it does, please take only what you will and use your best discernment. Like or dislike according to your whim. And also, please subscribe and as content is regularly updated. Thank you. Okay. So a mode of action has emerged out of this. This has to do with a feeling of restlessness, some sort of energetic impulse to love or to be or not to be. The question has to deal with the Four of Cups in the reverse, as you see. There's a difference of the Two of Cups. Two of Cups usually indicates some sort of union or transference of love or projection of love's desires, okay? It moves from the one to the two. That mystery involves something of turning inside outward, okay, and essentially creating an awakening, creating some sort of tether or a link with someone else, okay. This has to do with the energy of the Six of Cups, very deep, intensified energies of water here. Scorpio influence is here strongly. But the Four of Cups in reverse that emerges out of the subtraction here, it talks about restlessness, and there could be some form of restlessness when it comes to the mode of action, okay? And that's the irony, because we have the Hanged Man here, who is usually a person, an archetypal person of non-action. And through his non-action, there are sort of verbal agreements or emotional sort of underpinnings that motivate the Hanged Man in terms of his own spiritual inclinations towards enlightenment, okay? Very strongly, this indicates a year or perhaps a path that involves the surrender of a power scheme, okay? And essentially coming to a place of numbness. When it comes to dynamics of power, there's a spiritual quest here, okay? This is a very strongly spiritual undertone here, very strongly, considering it deals with karma, letting go of karma with the Six of Cups in reverse, Two of Cups very much indicating someone initiating that in some sort of way. There is love here. And with the holiday season approaching, you might find yourself within the company of love, or within the company of family or friends, which is quite a nice thing. But there's something very detached about it, something perhaps that has to do with the equal give and take, and perhaps a numb altruistic feeling, or perhaps a suspension when it comes to that, okay? The suspension continues with the exaltation of Jupiter in Cancer here, the Chariot approaching, which talks about potentialities of love, okay? Potentialities of creative force, creative juices stirring for you. And the singularity speaks about a very a very strong, compelling force here. One of moving, one of traveling, one of distance and expansion of especially the wellspring of your insides. Okay, which is a fantastic idea, considering surrounding you when it comes to the singularity is once again the need to find some sort of peace in it all. There's a peace-seeking Libra that I see around, in which the horses that guide your chariot are divided between the Four of Swords as well as the Nine of Cups. Okay, meaning that there's an emotional detachment, a period of brevity, a place of peace. Okay, which is very fundamentally resonating within your reading. The Hanged Man is also a very humanitarian, peaceful card, one of the martyr as well as one of the saint. Okay, martyr or saint, which it forces me to return back to the Four of Cups in the reverse. There is a type of detachment, but also a need to, at least when it comes to the action, to be nostalgic in some sort of way, especially nostalgia about love or nostalgia about connections that have passed, that is re-emerging here, which is quite lovely. And you find this in a sense of peace. You find this in a sense of rest. There is a great force that is activated through you, and you are becoming a channel, if you will, of emotional underpinnings as well as thoughts of the past, even nostalgia, but then finding rest and solace in all of this. Okay, which is beautiful light reading. So far, so good. Considering on the subconscious, there is a strong inclination towards the rise to power. That is the underpinning of your chariot energy, which is the singularity reading altogether. Chariot is the only major arcana so far, but what this talks about is a completely new beginning, in which you have been balancing different things. You know, it's Vaga, the balancing scales of Libra, and there's something about you balancing out karma cycles here. Okay, Six of Cups in reverse. Karma cycles that have to do with love as well as human, camaraderie, but more than that, human love. And it is very, very deeply ingrained here. There's a sense that you're rising into a type of powerful leadership position, in which you can take your chariot and show others the paths of love, the paths of potentiality when it comes to the philosophical underpinnings of Jupiter in Cancer. Okay, that is the expansion of emotional bodies, getting fat with the waxing of the moon into the full moon in Cancer, very strongly here. That is coming, okay, impending, if you will. I also see here a very deeply strong sun that is rising for you, which is going to help you to find that sense of balance, to find that sense of empowerment with the King of Rods. Okay, so very good boding and foreboding so far. Now, what crowns this reading is the overall sense here of nostalgia. Once again, Six of Cups in reverse, we have the Six again. Six is very much indicative of devotion to something, devotion to the thoughts, devotion to the self, devotion to the past, or perhaps devotion to past cycles of karma that need to be reevaluated. There's been something that you've been coming back to, my dear Libra. This could be a return to friends or families, or an old lover, or even just impressions that were once jotted down on paper or once thrown across a canvas of paint. Okay, this talks to me of surrender to either feelings or surrender to modes of feeling abandoned and perhaps left in some way. These no longer burdening you in some another way because of a departure, because of the of what this card implies is the Six of Swords in the upright, but also in the reverse. A return back, and this being a burden, return back to something that you've lost, okay? And this is crowning you. Does it mean that you're not going to find any rest? I believe you will, with the Four of Swords in the upright as well as the Nine of Cups. So there's an emotional sort of intelligence that is evolving here. that requires you to actually backstep and to remember what is going on, especially with the last year, 2020, and anything that has you feeling really burnt out with that year, or perhaps feeling isolated in some sort of path that you have walked. But there also is an isolation of the mind, and the mind wants to return back to things of these paths that once promised. Okay. The challenges have to do with the Gemini North Node desires here from the past and into the present, trying to essentially find a sense of belonging without coming into tension with others, becoming at peace or harmony in some sort of way. But this is more peace of heart as opposed to peace of mind, I would say. Because the mind is operating very, very clearly here. It's well rested, but the heart is trying to define itself, and what emerges out of that could be the 10 of rods, or perhaps the 5 plus 9, the 14 of rods, which is the 5 of rods, essentially. That's how I see it. The 9 of rods speaks of future circumstances. What this is all leading up to is, as you move forward, there is a sense of coming into a type of purity. Okay, coming into a type of warrior stance and becoming that of the warrior, one who will defend the foundation, but also through the fire create structures, or perhaps destroy them accordingly. So your ability to really bring in that which feels like a burden from the past, and then to redefine that in some sort of revisitation, is very strongly suggested here. Okay, it doesn't have to be so, but it is suggested. The bridge to the past also speaks of, once again, the desires of the North Node, as well as the eclipses that have occurred have been very important. That of Sagittarius as well as that of Gemini, as well the 3 of rods. Okay, this talks to me of the difference. Okay, what I see here is a path of leadership, the path of Leo, and the path of pomp and circumstance, if you will, or just leadership in general. You are being applauded for what you do because you are doing so out of a purity that is nurturing for not only you but others as well, nurturing for the various dualities that you are experiencing in the vehicle of life, okay, left and right. So there's an ability for you to really thoroughly walk in a certain way, 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, and be very still from all of that, okay? There is a cadence or a poise here, and it's a good one. Yeah, so the suggestion is to maintain a sense of purity, especially with the Hanged Man. There is a Saturnian sort of tree in which you hang from, okay? This is not violent in any way, but you're hanging out, and there also is a Uranian swing to it. So enjoy the swing, enjoy the shuffle, enjoy the music that may be occurring for you now. There also is a possibility for you to release yourself, or perhaps find an edge of Saturn through the mystery of the moon, through the deeper understanding of emotional currencies that may be flowing for you in this singularity. My dear Libra, this is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I do thank you. Please like, share, or subscribe if you will, or dislike if you will. I thank you for your honesty. And take care now. I shall see you in 2021. Let's all hope it's going to be a wonderful year. If you would like a private reading, I am also available. Otherwise, bye.